Okay, so good morning everybody. Welcome to Boost Your Business Efficiency with Shortcuts Reporting. Today we're just going to go through some reports and talk about how to better utilize them within Shortcuts. So let's get going. Starting off, I just want to touch on some housekeeping just so that you guys are clear on everything about this particular session. So it's going to go from 20 to 30 minutes, so I hope you guys will have enough time. I do appreciate you taking the time to sit with me today. Basically, I understand how busy you guys are, so thank you so much. Obviously, don't forget to turn your speakers on just so you can hear me loud and clear. And please feel free to ask any questions in that little comment section throughout the session. You're more than welcome to. All right, so let's just talk about some objectives today. So learning objectives, we're just going to talk about a few things today, basically the understanding of regular reporting and why it's important. We'll go through those processes and, those key reporting categories that are going to help you and, basically identify retail and service spending trends, which then will help you increase efficiency. Basically, the ultimate goal of our training session today is just to understand how reports can answer those, business-related questions and to help you project future growth as a result. Now, let's just talk about those sorts of things. Why are we going to do these reports? What's the point, and why should we be dedicating busy time of our day on this particular element? A few different points that we've made here. Basically, they give you insight. Basically, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes information that you can identify with reporting. So it's probably not the funnest part of your day, but it's going to help you grow your business. Being able to analyze and understand figures basically sets you up for that growth. Ultimately, reports help, with trends and employee behaviors as well, so tracking, your staff and rewarding your staff as a result of reports. All of these things matter. At the end of the day, it can really make a difference. Let's just talk about this process, okay? So reports use data. When you take the data and put it into a reporting format, it allows you to analyze that report. From that report, you can take action, and ultimately, we want to increase the value of your business as a result. Now, let's actually talk about what we can offer as far as Shortcuts reporting goes. We're talking about these reports, and there are all sorts of reports for all sorts of platforms, and Shortcuts has actually quite a lot. We've got reports based around appointments, business, clients, employees, end of day. There's some miscellaneous reports more around forms, and then your services, stock, transactions, and walk-in manager. Each individual area basically needs a different category just to help you differentiate as to what data you're looking at. So that's why it's set out that way within your Shortcuts platform. There's heaps of reports in there, and they're divvied up into these 10 categories just to make things a bit easier to look at. So I'm going to go through each of these areas and we'll look at basically what they have to offer. We'll start with those appointments. So let's go into appointment reports. The whole entire reason that we have this area is so that you can forecast revenue. You can see how many clients are booking online, maybe in comparison to in person, and if they're requesting specific employees. So maybe if one of your employees really popular with your clients as opposed to other staff members. Overall, keeping track of your activity within the appointment book, you can understand a few points right here and now why that's going to be helpful in regards to your business. Now, underneath that, we're just actually going to look at the different appointment reports you can run. So first of all, you've got the value of future appointments. This report basically displays the appointments for each employee. It's a bar graph format, and it allows you to compare figures between those staff members. Basically, this is fantastic for those KPIs that you're going to be setting. Maybe if you want to give your staff members bonuses, those sorts of things. Absolutely fantastic report for that. It does include, percentage of appointments booked with each employee. So okay, this person is becoming more popular than this person. And then you can go into the whys of that. Perhaps someone might need more training. If you really think about it, there is a lot of value in these particular reports. Now, I think the main thing is how much, revenue you're getting per service. However, you should probably note that the report may not reflect actual sales of revenue. Figures are based on the current service prices. So if you've changed your price moving forward, obviously your results from the previous month before you change that price will vary depending on this month. So you can see here the percentage of your appointments. Over here you've got the total value of booked appointments. Then you've got the total up the top, this little orange section. So this is kind of overall, everything together. This is our value for the month. Then you've got the little beautiful bar graphs. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so much better with visuals than I am with just numbers. It just makes things more clearer to me. I can see a bar that shows me that, James is doing better than Katie. Nice and simple. I don't have to look at the numbers, but I'm not, programmed that way. So now, down the bottom is just those values of booked appointments per month. This is just helping you understand whether you've got an accurate amount of, revenue coming in per services that you're offering. It's always good to review those things because you don't want to be selling yourself short, Now, we were talking about earlier about some statistics of how these appointments are coming through. So, as you know, Shortcuts offers an online booking platform, as opposed to just giving you guys a buzz. Now, with a lot of specific age groups and demographics, it is really popular to go through that online avenue now. You'll notice that your, more loyal clients that are used to the old way might want to stick to that phone call avenue, but it's a really good way for attracting new clients. So definitely keep online booking in mind if it hasn't, been an avenue that you've already taken. The really cool thing about that online booking is that you've got this Book Me statistics here. The Book Me statistics give you data based on, okay, how successful is this online booking platform in comparison to just over the phone? So you can actually look at, yes, I've still got those employees that are coming in on the regular basis and they're still kind of calling. Maybe I need to get them into the habit of going online. Some people aren't comfortable with it, so it's totally understandable if you've got people that aren't wanting to book online. But definitely encouraging those more tech-savvy clients that are going to find it more convenient than anything to go through that avenue. It really does help increase that regular return and rebooking rate as well. So through this report here, you can see so many statistics, overall employee statistics. So basically breaking it down based on employees, how many people are coming in through that online booking platform for these specific staff members. Then you've got an average booking value. So what's your average booking value for each employee? What's the dollar figure that they're earning? Then there's the value of point of sale bookings. This is just made through that appointment book as opposed to through the online booking platform. So there's your perfect comparison side by side, what's giving us more value. Now the service area, basically this is where you can break down the statistics for each service instead. So at the top you're kind of breaking down online booking per employee, down the bottom it's kind of going per services. Really great way to gauge what's successful on online booking. You might not be aware, but you can turn things on and off to be displayed on your online booking platform as far as services are concerned. So if you've got a list of really successful services, you might be thinking about removing some of the other ones just so that from your client's perspective, the booking page isn't as convoluted and way easier to navigate. So that's my particular reason for this area and why I prefer that, having read through of these reports before actually assigning what I want to be available online. In this service area, you get the similar statistics, but kind of more of a percentage as well down the end. They do show it in both areas. So you've got the total of bookings done through BookMe, and then the total of appointment value gained through BookMe. So definitely come and have a look at this one. I do really like this report, if you can't tell. It does actually continue on to another part, again, where we've got these bar graphs. Again, just more for that visually friendly aspect for those people who just prefer to see things laid out in a nice, pretty way. Now, underneath each appointment, we've kind of talked about how they come through now. There is a way to record what type of appointment you're getting. So whether it's a new client or a non-returning client, someone that you need to give that extra special care for. Basically, what we do in Shortcuts to identify those different types of clients is we use tags. So there is a tag report as well. One of those tags, as we know, is online booking. So you can basically go through to the tag usage report to determine things like how many clients used the new tag, how many booked via the web, so that would be your online booking tag, how many, came in and requested a specific staff member, statistics like that. Now, this is basically a graphical representation of the revenue associated with those tags. The idea is, how much new clients are bringing in how much dollars. Make sense? So you basically just want to go through and check out whether or not these particular types of clients are your popular demographic. As you can see, and this is pretty consistent, that the requested clients, the ones that have a favorite staff member, someone that they trust, they are generally incredibly popular. That's the basic use for tags. It does break it down. It goes into, the revenue that you're making, the number of appointments that you've got, and specifically dates, times, and employees. Now, just keep in mind that you can actually double click on certain elements of reports to find out further details. So always keep an eye out for the magnifying glass when you're hovering over data, because it can actually break it down even further for you. That's pretty much it for those appointment reports. Those are the main ones that I feel will be appropriate for you guys to use, but definitely go in there and check it out. Of course, give us a call if anything's not making sense. Now, let's just talk about business reports. You want to be able to gain useful insight into overall sales data with your business reports. So that's a category that focuses on, business revenue and financial management. So the business reporting section, you've got statistics in there that are going to help you understand the month's revenue and if it's kind of going up, going down, or staying, in between. How much value is outstanding on gift certificates, and, are you making the same amount, every single day of the week, or, consistent days of the week? And are your clients, paying with cash versus card? Those sorts of things. Things that are going to help you understand what's popular, what's not popular, and better help your clients. So I think start with some of the most integral reports. Sales trends, for example. Fantastic way to, trigger what kind of over month by month, what is popular as far as sales are concerned, what ranges are going up and down. So you can come in here and it gives you this little line graph that basically says for each month, it will show you what your sales have been and if they're increasing or decreasing or staying the same. This is quite similar to an online platform we have called Scorecards. So if you are one of those visual people, please check out that add-on. You may already have it in your package, so make sure you check it out. Basically, the idea is just to be able to compare month to month. You want to be able to see what, seasonal trends are happening, whether or not you're in the busy season versus the quiet season, those sorts of things. Outstanding gift certificates basically just give you information on those gift certificates that haven't been claimed. So someone's given you the financial figure, so they've given you either cash or they've paid via card, and they've actually paid for this, but no one's come in to redeem it. It is always a good idea to keep that, because you have to keep in mind how much as a business you are liable for these outstanding monetary values. You obviously have this kind of on-account figure just sitting there. Might be an idea to actually review whether or not you've got some sort of expiry date on those, just so that you're not, opening yourself up for liability. So it gives you a few bits of details, obviously the number that's been associated with the card, if you've assigned it to a specific client, maybe who bought it or whether it was just a walk-in, the date that it was sold and the amount that they've purchased it for. If they've redeemed any of it, as we know within shortcuts you can redeem some of it as opposed to all of it and kind of have an outstanding figure. There is also that column finally at the end that says what's outstanding. So if they have any amount that they are still due to redeem. Once again, just a really fantastic report to cover yourself and make sure that you've got yourself sorted out in these scenarios. Now I think next area, it's really important to also talk about takings. Basically, this report allows you to see numbers of clients that are visiting each day. You've got which week you're in. Then it goes into each day of the week and breaks down how many services and dollar figures you're getting, what are your takings for the day. It's actually really fantastic. It analyzes those business trends. So that can assist you with planning your roster and making sure your staff are going to be available for specific days of the week. Fantastic report for those sorts of things. It does break it down even further as well into the takings breakdown area. Again, this one's way more visual, so as you can tell by now, I absolutely love this one. So basically this breakdown area displays bar graphs of revenue for the range. There's also, whether or not what kind of payment type you're using, cash, credit. It goes into detailed breakdown of the payment type and displays your total sales figures for the selected interval. You can change actually the frequency from daily to, monthly, quarterly, or even just whatever range you feel is necessary in the reporting selection screen. Then you've got a little breakdown down the bottom with date, whether it's been cash, check, credit, FPOS, other, and then the total overall. Again, just more visual and so much more helpful for people like me and anyone else who's more of a visual learner. Now, we were talking earlier just about employees and keeping track of your staff. You probably need to gain useful insight into employee behavior and trends. There is a bunch of those employee-based reports. So, yeah, as I said earlier, basically you can set KPIs comparing employee statistics. This will be showing you, who's your highest ranking staff member. Are clients generally always rebooking with that specific staff member versus someone else? And, which employee is actually bringing the most revenue? Underneath that, you've got a few different types of reports. We were talking about where does everybody rank, so I will start with the employee ranking report. This report is absolutely fantastic because it shows the top 10 employees in order of productivity. Their sales are based off of products and services, and then it goes into, whether they're selling series of lists, each list based on different criterion, and each employee for particular lists, their ranking and relevant sales figures. Now, these figures are basically giving you monetary value, sales per hour, average sales per client, and each employee basically gives you the value so you can view their total sales and the number of clients they've served. This report basically just gives you that analysis of employee performance and gives you that ability to just rank everybody. Let's just go into the breakdown of this one too. I want to go into that particular rebooking element. As we know, this is one of the more difficult things for clients. Once you get them into the habit, it's super easy. Just give that explanation of this just means that you're set for next time. You're going to get that trim that your hair does need regularly, and we'll send you a text to remind you, just trying to get them into that habit, because once they're there and they will keep rebooking. So basically this area here is going to tell you whether you've got weaknesses and strengths in rebooking. It breaks it down. Again, you've got this graphical report. Once again, visual, my favorite type of report. So it just shows first employees, how many people are really ingraining it into their clients that they need to rebook, that it's going to be beneficial for them to get set up for their next appointment so they don't have to call in and they don't forget to call in. From a business perspective, that's fantastic too, because if someone's already booked, they're less likely to shop around for competitors. So, I really cannot endorse rebooking enough. And I'm sure as business owners, you guys have probably had fair bit of experiences with losing clients as a result of not rebooking, let me know in the comment section if that's ever happened to you guys. I'd definitely love to hear your feedback. Now, this particular report is great. It gives you overall the total number of rebookings, specific staff members that are doing it, how many visits those people are getting through the time range that you've actually specified, and then just like a little percentage figure. So if you weren't comfortable with communicating specific statistics with your staff, you could say, look, Chris is currently the highest percentage rebooker with, 22%, or whatever a statistic comes up there. That way you don't have to go into that specific figures when you communicate it and reward your staff. Now let's just talk about services. Certain staff members are obviously going to have, weaknesses and strength in regards to their services. Sometimes they may need to be retrained, or perhaps their capabilities, they're a beautician as opposed to a stylist, that sort of thing. So there is a beautiful services by employee report that does actually do all this for you, and it's so colorful and pretty, and basically it just goes in and it does a little count per employee. It tells you percentages and values, and it'll say whether or not someone maybe need to be focused on as far as whether or not they're that confident. Obviously, if they're just an apprentice, it all makes sense in that element. It goes through and it just analyzes the performance and allows you to see who's completing those services. Gives you those tools to reward your staff, which in turn, happy staff members mean happy clients and more revenue in the end of the day. So I've got a bunch of client reports as well, which just goes over their behavior. It focuses primarily on the frequency of their visits, whether or not how they're actually finding out about your business, whether it was from a friend or Facebook, that sort of thing, and what their habits are with their spending. We're going to go into, are they canceling? How do new clients find your specific business, and whether you would be rewarding those top spending clients to find those clients and then reward them as a result. Let's just start with this cancelling one. So cancelled appointments, there is a report, it's called cancelled appointments, convenient, and basically just goes in and says, what days are these clients cancelling on, whether it was a no-show versus someone specifically calling and cancelling. If it's specifically happening with one, standard staff member, it's always good to track frequent reoccurring statistics. When something is specific to one staff member, there may be a problem there. Not 100%, but it's always worth reviewing these things. Again, comes back down to the importance of reporting. The status overall is just going to go, deleted, no-show, or if they've rescheduled. So you might remember that there is a client dashboard. You can actually find out statistics based around your clients at a glance in the client dashboard area. This specific reports goes one step further and just tells you if anything has just been deleted without recording whether they were a no-show or whether they've, cancelled. If anything's unclear about that and what the client dashboard is, please feel free to pop a question about it in the question section. I'd be more than happy to answer anything. Now, we were just discussing referral activity. Obviously, referral and knowing what elements of marketing are getting people through your door is important. Those reasons can be, maybe I need to focus on that marketing element. Maybe I need to put more energy into Facebook because I can see that it's bringing in clients. Or maybe I need to put more energy into a rewards program for people who refer, those sorts of things. That's my particular reason for the referral activity report. I do like to come in here and just check, Facebook, how many people have come through from Facebook, and is there a specific client who's referring someone? Those sorts of statistics are helpful just to make sure you're rewarding the right people, making sure that you acknowledge those people, and upping your marketing in those elements. So you've got a few different areas in this report. It will give you the names of all of the methods that you've got saved. If you're having any troubles with the methods at all, please, again, let us know. Pop any questions about it. There is a ways to add in more referral methods if you fear there is an area that needs to be added in. Now, it'll go through the count, how many people, what was the period. So whether or not it was like a month period or over a year, you can obviously specify that in your reporting elements. Then it goes into, again, value. So how much revenue you've actually raised. This is through your period, and then over to the right-hand side actually just gives you the overall for all time. Now, rewarding clients. We were just talking about those clients who are referring others, but there is another way to reward specific clients. My preference is top spending clients. Those clients are the ones that are coming in most, they're your regulars, and they're spending the most, so they're getting those more pricey services. This report is fantastic for targeting those, so you might want to consider these guys your VIPs almost and give them special discounts, kind of get them through the door a bit more. These are the ones you want around, if that makes sense. So it gives you their names, obviously, over here to the left-hand side. It actually also gives you their email address, so you know how many of those people you can market to through your marketing agent. Their phone numbers, if you wanted to do any SMS marketing to them. And obviously the number of tickets, average spend, and total spend. Now, if there's anything unclear, I know the number of tickets is basically the number of transactions the clients have actually processed through point of sale. So obviously that can vary depending on how many services they have per booking. So it kind of goes off of how many services as opposed to bookings. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory on this report. So I was kind of going to move into more of your end of day reporting now. Let's just jump into that. End of day goes through keeping track of day-to-day activities. The end of day report, this category just focuses on the daily business takings, cash register balance. Let's just jump into the trading summary. Trading summary is probably the most important report in this area because this is probably the kind of data that your accountant's going to need at the end of financial year. They need to know your sales and your payments and liabilities, what you're redeeming, what your takings are. So, your cash versus Amex versus Visa, those things are important. Obviously, their tax elements will need to be in there, any net receipts, statistics based on, the totals versus service versus product, those sorts of things. Then you go into the averages and all of that sorts of details as well. Trading summary, again, just to reiterate, is important because at the end of the financial year, this is the data that your accountant's going to want to see. Now, there is a continued area on the trading summary. It goes into even more details about what kind of clients you're getting in, whether they were new clients or they've come back or whether they're walk-in. This is statistics that's going to help you guys out as well. It's kind of all of those core and integral pieces of information collated into one area. The session till balance is also really helpful for those sorts of information. This is really good for any cash outs in and out and any petty cash. This will help you keep track of things that are being taken out and haven't been entered back in. It's really important to keep your staff in that habit of making sure that once they do take petty cash, that they do record the change that they've put back in. That way that your end of day is balancing correctly. This is an easy way to see who's taking things as well because you can actually drill down into the takings and see specifically who is taking that petty cash. Those are the three main reports for end of day, and they actually do automatically print out when you do the end of day unless you specify otherwise. Otherwise, if you have chosen not to print them out, remember you can navigate back to the reporting area and they're still there for you to use and specify whatever date range you like. So those are the ones you're probably going to use pretty much every day. Let's go into more of service reports. These are really good for cleaning up your services. If you've got a lot of services in there that you've kind of just been adding on the fly, this is going to give you insight into that activity and any sort of reports of those categories that you've kind of got set up, any, primarily on service counts and the revenue that you're doing. Let's go into what the most popular services are and how to quickly see, which employee level can charge what. So let's talk about top selling services. The top selling service report's pretty self-explanatory. It shows you what reports you're going to sell most popular. This is cool because you can actually set these services as your top services, which are easy to navigate to. So definitely be inquiring about that. If you're ever having any trouble on your service selection screen when booking people in or processing a sale, there is a top service option where you can basically just put a favorites area in there. Let us know if you'd like to hear more about that in that question section. Going into that service breakdown with levels that we mentioned earlier, this is really good just to basically see whether or not different, apprentices versus stylists are charging more and whether or not that's helping. So how many clients are coming in to see our apprentice versus our senior stylist based on those pricing changes? That's what this report is basically incredibly helpful for. That's pretty much it for the services. Luckily, there's not too much around those, so they're nice and easy to understand. Let's go into stock. Your stock reports basically keep track of the value of levels, give you an average, and they can go into those category focuses. We're going to look at the value of your current stock on hand, the most popular products, and how much professional stock was used in the past month. So you've got the stock control report. The stock control report displays a detailed list of your product levels. Basically, it's organized to allow you to easily view particular companies, lines, and reports. It'll show you basically the totals, percentages, you've got your barcodes, quantity that are currently on stock, any of your warning figures, your maximum levels, anything currently outstanding but on order, and what you're averagely spending on it. Now, that little one there is something I'm asked about quite often, average cost. This is just when an order containing this item is received, the average cost is calculated based on the average cost method. So previous value of stock on hand plus the total order cost excluding tax, or previous quantity of stock plus the total order of quantity. That just gives you that value. So it'll let you know whether or not overall this price is varying as you change orders, as you go through that supplier, and tell you if it's kind of staying on the point there. Now let's just go into those top selling products as well. So we talked about top selling services. We also have a top selling products report. So you can come in here to see what is most popular and then do discounts based off of it. If you already know that this is what your clients love, then you don't even have to kind of take that time to think, oh, is this going to sell? Because you know it's selling. But it's also fantastic to get those trickier items off the shelves, the ones that really aren't selling. Then you can do a discount on them and advertise it on your social media and other marketing outlets and through your email marketing platforms. Get those things off the shelf and increase revenue. Again, back down to those what are reports helpful for. Now, let's just go into stock usage. We want to talk about that professional stock as well. We've kind of gone into the retail elements, but it is important to make sure that you guys are using stock at a steady pace. You're not kind of going over the top. So this kind of breaks it down into the products that you're using day to day or week to week, depending on the parameters that you set for your report. It basically just means that you can view particular companies and lines and the total figures for each line and company. The first page basically goes through the totals, the quantities, average costs, breaks it down. Let's go into transaction reports. So transaction reports basically provide you with those information about your transactions. So basically, your discounts and whether or not you're giving those primarily to family or friends or VIP clients, those sorts of things. Then it goes into how much are we spending on specific areas, groceries, tea, is it relevant? Are we giving our clients too much for what they're spending on our services? And then finally, who's voiding at the point of sale and why? So let's start with that discount reasons breakdown. So that's this report here. It basically just goes through, we're discounting this, we're giving this discount. The reason is, family, friend, VIP client, that sort of thing. Now, is this, a relevant amount? So it'll go into what the discount is, how much, whether it's a percentage or a dollar figure, we've given them this much of a discount. We've received this much total from the client on this sale. And that is, again, just going to give you that element of, do I need to be giving this discount? Am I giving too much of this discount? Specifically, whether or not it was during a specific month. So maybe July was a slow month, so you upped the discounts so that you were getting more people through the door. So that's going to be, a validation for you. Yes, I kind of gave a few more discounts than usual that month, but it's a slow month. As the industry knows, sometimes we have those lulls, and sometimes the only way to get people through the door is chuck them a discount. Now, another thing to be very wary of, as far as, you know, your revenue and your outgoings is your expense report. So this is going to help you get an idea of what expenses your business has. So again, talking about whether or not we're spending too much on client refreshments or flowers or general groceries, or if general groceries is too much of a general specification. If we need more details about where our money is going, again, just to reiterate, expense report is fantastic for making sure that you don't have too many outgoings and keeping a close eye on those outgoings. Now, there is another, you know, amount of expenses that aren't considered expenses. They're more voided transactions. So, you know, a service or a retail element that's just been voided. Where did that money go? Why didn't we process that? So you've got your void reasons. It does actually give you those specifications. So for example, this staff member cancelled because it was the wrong service. It was an accident. We've, you know, reprocessed that sale just under a different service. Go through and have a look at this report basically to find out specifically which staff member is voiding more often and whether or not they need any training in how to process sales and book in appointments, and how much money you're kind of losing as a result of these voids, and making sure that you are gaining those elsewhere so that that staff member has rebooked that elsewhere. That's the main thing for, you know, outgoings. Let's just talk about Walk-in Manager. Now, some of you might not use this. This is primarily a software used by barbers. So if it's not really an element, please don't worry about this section. If it's confusing in any way, it's most likely because you work off appointments as opposed to people adding themselves to a queue. Walk-in Manager is a really great way to, well, the specific reporting section is a really great way to focus on the clients and their visit habits. So if you are working off queues, it's going to give you which employees are most efficient at getting that client from the chair out of the queue into their chair and getting their service done and then getting the next person in. So how's your flow? Now, then it's going into the time it's taking, spending on those services, so that basically we just want to know, is everything moving smoothly? So underneath our Walk-in Manager, we've got the employee efficiency. So basically, how efficient are we at booking these appointments? You want to be able to see whether or not you're marketing yourself enough. So there are wonderful new features with this queue element, like your app. So you can have clients just checking themselves in, the kiosk, so that there's a little pad at the front of the, you know, company where clients can just pop their name in and add themselves to the queue. You want to make sure that you're making it as easy as possible. If you're working off a queue and the queue's not working, then that's when the issues are going to arise. Now, on average, you do want to get a good gauge on what the longest wait time is. You need to know where your weaknesses are as well as your strength. You want to know that you're one of those quicker businesses, the people that are keeping your clients happy, because the whole point is they want this to be easy and breezy. They don't want to have to book in an appointment. They just want to walk in. This is a fantastic report for that purpose. Now let's just go into the services, you know, efficiency. So this here is basically just talking about the employee. So Anna is doing the number of visits. The average visit time for Anna is 8 minutes, and the number of services on average, and how much time it takes per service, that sort of detail. The next is kind of the efficiency of the service. So employee service efficiency report. So this basically just says, on average, you know, what's the duration? Is this staff member really up to par with what we want? So that means it gives you the tools to set an average, you know, to basically say, this is what you guys need to meet. This is what we want our clients to have. And then keep in mind that obviously on other days you may have certain issues. Oh, sorry, apologies. It just kind of skipped forward on me there. That's pretty much it for the Walk-in Manager stuff. It's one of the easier platforms to use. Today, I'm hoping that you guys are feeling okay with all the information I've given you. I really wanted to stress why it's important to do regular reporting and, you know, why we go through these processes. Hopefully these reports can help you answer those common questions, which can save you calls to the help desk at the end of the day. And we went through those key reporting categories, how to measure the efficiency and productivity of employees, and how to identify product performance trends. Q&A time. Does anyone have any questions at all? Please feel free to jot them down in the answer question section down there, and I'm be more than happy to respond. While I am waiting for questions to come through, we might just talk about some recommended videos you guys could watch following this. So we've got the YouTube tutorials, you've got getting started with reports in there, view book me bookings, view client retention report, and obviously our scorecard area that I mentioned earlier is absolutely fantastic for these kind of more visual people. All right, doesn't seem like we have any questions today, which must mean that I did an okay job. Thank you guys so much for your time. Hey, I do know that you're really busy, so I appreciate you coming to watch this. And if you do have any questions following this, please remember to call the 1300 number or email us at the education email address listed on your screen at the moment. You can also jump onto our Facebook page and give us a like to stay involved in our news updates, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of these videos. Thanks so much for your time, everybody.